Nope, just these the guys on the ground down there, the heavily armed officers that made their way inside. Brief about what they saw. In any type of these situations, it really is, you know, you've got these armored officers that go in first, but I would venture to say the investigators or the people that know what they're looking for probably still out there on the streets, and they're waiting for that all clear to make sure that there is absolutely nobody on this property. And again, this is just a precaution. They don't want to have any kind of issues. Maybe somebody's hiding still, maybe just scared, and you know, it doesn't have to be nefarious. And just because they don't know what's particularly why we're seeing that large presence, they keep walking through there. And like you mentioned, this is an extremely large home, and probably with many rooms and a little secret area. So they want to make sure that everything is cleared before they allow those investigators in to start doing that investigation, whatever it is that they're looking for. But you can see a number of those officers making their way back into that major, this is the big main house as it would be, making their way back inside. And I would venture to say that they're going to just go through every one of those rooms and make sure that there is nobody in there. I don't think they're those guys that we're seeing, guys and gals that we're seeing in those heavily armored gear and equipment, I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now, it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion, the procedures taking place. He's there. A part of all of this, and they have a number of resources on hand with a drone flying up top, as well as they had ladders taking a closer look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while, and as Haley mentioned, with her shot down on the ground right there, more people are coming to your area, Haley.
Homes on both coasts are being raided. We still have not gotten word on exactly where P. Diddy is, if he is in fact in New York right now or in Los Angeles. And of course, yeah, we haven't seen. It's a little bit calmer, I would say, than it was about 20 minutes ago when it all happened. The guns that were drawn earlier have been since put away. It looks like they just put away their drone, but of course doing a thorough job of checking the home for any kind of details that they can come up with related to these allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, and everybody's interested in the details of what how he's connected to these latest allegations.
And from your vantage
we will bring
point,
the very latest as soon as, I'm sorry?
Yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill. This is obviously a very prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton and Holmby Hills off of Sunset near Beverly Glen. So the vehicles have basically just moved forward. You're seeing a lot more of those law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security, though, back here on the street in Mapleton since they've come out of the home after they've done their thorough investigating inside. Stu up there in Sky Fox.
Thank you so much, Haley, for that perspective on the ground right there in front of that Holmby Hills mansion. Stu up in Sky Fox, it looks like, yes, there are some more law enforcement, but in different attire. Should I say suits instead of body armor?
Definitely, and we all know how that works. The suits are going to be the investigators and probably way to the areas that I would venture to say that they probably are pretty specific. I don't think they're just going in randomly. And again, this is just a guess. I don't think they're going in randomly, just going through everybody's stuff inside there. They probably have an area that they know, or an office that they're going to be looking into, or some computers that they might want to physically get their hands on, and that's what they're waiting for right now to make their way inside this property. This, like you said, very beautiful home out there in the Homely Hills area, and they just waiting to get the all clear to allow them inside. While these officers that we see right there in the tactical gear, well, their job is to make sure that everything is safe for them to go in. Now, they don't probably, again, I just want to be clear, it's like nobody's thinking that there's booby traps or some kind of sniper inside the home. That's not what they're thinking at all. It's probably more along the lines of they want to make sure that everybody is outside of the home because they don't want to have somebody stepping out or coming out later on and surprising or catching people off guard. That's not what they want. And right now you can see Sandra, you've been saying, there's a large number of people out here. I would venture to say, as far as the officers go, I would probably put this group closer to 100. Not just what we're seeing right here. This is just one group of many that have made their way out here to this Homely Hills area. And as far as the suits that we were talking about, that's part of the group right there. But there's some other ones as well, younger ones that were basically leading the charge. And that's them right there, actually. They perfect timing. And it looks like they're making their way over towards the home. They might be the first ones to make their way in to start that investigation process, or figure out where we're going to look, what we're looking for, and then later on the suits will make their way in as well. But this, like you said, is going to be a very long process out here, and this is just the very, very beginning. And the folks that they had taken into custody, they've moved them out of the area right now. And again, wouldn't say that they are arrested. We don't know that for a fact. They took them into custody. A few of them still had cuffs on. Some of them didn't. So maybe this was a division of, these are people that we know work here. These are people that may be associated with Sean Combs, or Bad Boy Entertainment. So it's one of those type of situations. And until they know who they are, they're just going to keep them in custody and possibly just let them go later on. And I don't believe the word arrested has been used out here as of yet, but again, still very active situation, and of course that is a huge house, and they've got a lot of rooms to clear before they allow those investigators in.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs. Let's bring in CNN security correspondent Josh Campbell and CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson. Josh, let me start with you. What do these raids by federal agents in multiple locations tell you about the seriousness of this investigation?
Yeah, Wolf, a very significant development here, seeing this law enforcement action taking place. I'll point out, just to be clear at the outset, we don't know that Sean Diddy Combs himself is the subject or target of a federal investigation. So it's just worth pointing that out at this hour. But what we do know is that two properties associated with him, we saw the feds descend on those properties. We saw on aerial footage, federal agents both here in the Los Angeles area as well as in Miami at those residences. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, their what's called HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, gave CNN a statement. I'll read you part of that when asked about what this activity is. They say that earlier today, HSI New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. That is it, confirming that they are conducting what they're deeming. It is worth pointing out, though, that Combs himself obviously has faced significant legal woes in recent months. I'll give you just the highlights of what actually occurred. In November, he was sued for rape and abuse by a former partner. That lawsuit was then settled very quickly. But in December, he faced sexual assault allegations in a complaint filed in the Southern District of New York. The suit was brought by a woman referred to as Jane Doe, who said that in that suit, naming two of his associates. Of course, Combs denied any wrongdoing there. And then just last month, a former employee of Combs filed a suit also in the state of New York, accusing him of sexual assault, of sexual harassment and, quote, grooming. That former employee stated that he had worked for Combs between 2022 and 2023. Among those allegations, this former employee, a male employee, said that Combs did not compensate him for his music production work and forced him to procure and interact with sex workers, threatened him with serving alcoholic beverages laced with drugs to guests at parties at Combs' home. And then Combs' son, Justin Combs, was also accused of soliciting prostitutes and underage girls at his father's homes. Again, the Combs have denied any wrongdoing, but just a series of allegations that we've seen taking place. Final point, Wolf, I'll note is that while we don't know the specific allegations or why the feds are at these residences, it is worth pointing out the agency that is conducting this law enforcement activity. It's not the FBI, it's not the DEA or the ATF. This is HSI, Homeland Security Investigations. For those unfamiliar, this is an agency that has long been the forefront specifically at human trafficking investigations. So although we don't have the specifics yet, we're starting to we can glean just based on which Los Angeles and in Florida, Wolf.
Yeah, important points. Joey Jackson, now let me repeat, we don't know if Sean Diddy Combs himself is under investigation, but clearly, Joey, it's not good if your homes are actually being raided.
No, it's not, Wolf. And I think, whatever conclusions do, but as to reason to believe that a crime was committed and he committed them. Having said that, whenever you have a raid and an investigation, these things need to be really predicated upon, right? The precursor for this to happen would be some probable cause. What is that probable cause? We don't know. But let's go back to what Josh Campbell talked about, which are those various lawsuits. Now, lawsuits are civil actions in nature. They're not criminal at all. But what they do is they give authorities some guidelines and guideposts with respect to alleged conduct that was engaged in, with regard to who it was engaged in, what activities there were, what it involved. And so that, if there's an investigation, could serve as a source of plentiful information. That information could be further investigated, right, by certainly this Homeland Security Agency. And as a result of that, they can work with their local law enforcement partners. What does that mean? It means that they, collectively, law enforcement, try to determine whether there's reason to believe that crimes were committed. Authorities, Wolf, can get into the home or property of anyone. You have to establish some firm basis to do that. And that is what at least we can conclude, that they had reason to believe that there were crimes involving sex trafficking, apparently, and that these areas potentially can give more information with respect to the specifics. And I think they would be looking for computer devices and other devices which would seem to indicate or give information out.
Very interesting. Josh, let me get back to you. You know the FBI very well. Under what circumstances would raids like these be conducted?
Well, this would require, if it is indeed a search that's being conducted, it would require federal officers, in this case with Homeland Security Investigations, going to a judge and seeking a warrant, indicating that we believe that evidence of a crime could be located in these residences. And then this third party, an independent judge, has to approve that warrant. And then you see take place what's happening now on our screen. I particularly want to focus on, you see that large RV-looking vehicle there. This is the mobile command post that federal agencies will send whenever they're going to be somewhere, likely for a long time. I mean, if you look at these residences, we're talking about very large estates. And so, as Joey was mentioning, something as simple as a thumb drive or anywhere where electronic media could be stored, if it's on that warrant, authorities can search that residence top to bottom, looking for any type of device, any type of storage mechanism that fits within the four corners of that search warrant. Now, again, I'll caution, we don't know specifically why they were there. It does tell us, I think, that, just because you see that large posture of all of these federal vehicles that are there, including this mobile command post, this was likely not something as simple as an arrest where you show up and you find a person that you're seeking, but likely more along the lines of a search warrant, which falls in line with what HSI told us in that statement when they say law enforcement actions. That's something that we often hear from federal agents as a euphemism for conducting some type of search. But again, both of these residences, both where I am here in LA, it's just a few miles here from the CNN LA bureau where this search is taking place. Also in Miami, you see this large cadre of federal agencies descending on those homes. Again, the big question now, what are they looking for? We're waiting for specifics on that as this search continues.
And Joey, video also shows heavily armed agents entering Diddy's home. How unusual is that?
So it's not unusual. I mean, I think that what law enforcement does is certainly they want to be protective of themselves, potentially to deter any type of activity that could occur of a criminal variety. Not that there would be any, but you never know. And so as a result of that, once they're armed, not only armed literally, but armed with respect to a warrant, that would suggest that they have reason to be there, that there's criminality that would be afoot, potentially, they go, law enforcement does, and they make sure that the area is secure such that they can get any information from that warrant so that they can continue to investigate. Very important to note, Wolf, that these are investigative stages. Warrants are typical in any type of investigation. Evaluate whatever they find in connection with this search. And if that search bears fruit with respect to any potential criminality on any computer devices, any cell phone devices, any, thumb drive had enough information to be in.
Looking for?
Not necessarily. I mean, at some
Breaking news tonight, we have some new details about why federal agents may have raided mansions belonging to musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs. CNN's Carlos Suarez is outside of his Miami home for us. So what more do you know about what's behind these searches?
Well, Anderson, a law enforcement source tells my colleague, Josh Campbell, that is the target of this investigation, citing the sensitivity of the investigation itself. Now, agents with Homeland Security raided two homes belonging to Combs, one here in Miami Beach, the other in Los Angeles. The property here in Miami Beach is an 11,000 square foot property. And late tonight, we saw agents walking out of this house carrying a cardboard box as well as several bags from the second story of the property out here. Now, agents in Los Angeles could be seen walking around Combs's house there. They were processing the scene there and could be seen taking notes on a table there. Now, an official with Homeland Security here in Miami tells me that the raid that took place here happened a little bit after 3 o'clock this afternoon. And a neighbor tells me that about 30 to 40 law enforcement officers showed up to the house out here and carried out this search warrant. Again, Anderson, late word tonight from a law enforcement source who tells my colleague Josh Campbell that these search warrants that were executed is in connection with a sex trafficking investigation. However, the source would not say whether Combs himself is the target of the attack. Again, all of this played out here at around 3 o'clock this afternoon. Almost immediately, we were trying to get some details on exactly what was taking place, not only here in Miami and Los Angeles, but as of this late hour, we have not heard from any of Combs's representatives about the raids at either of his properties or the investigation itself.
All right, Carlos Suarez, appreciate it. Join me now, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson and the aforementioned Josh Campbell. So, Josh, you were part of searches like this when you were an FBI agent. What do you read into what stands out to you about this?
Well, this is all becoming a little clearer, Anderson. From the moment that we first saw those SWAT vehicles roll up to those homes, as well as mobile command posts, all of those vehicles emblazoned with the letters HSI, that was an indication for those in law enforcement that we're likely talking about sex trafficking, because HSI itself is the primary investigative arm of the Department of Homeland Security. They deal with transnational criminal groups, but they also have a robust effort underway to go after human traffickers. That involves two prongs, not only to rescue victims of human trafficking, but also to locate and prosecute those who may be behind the trafficking itself. And again, a source now tells me this is part of an ongoing trafficking investigation. We don't yet know what specifically they were looking for at these residences. We did see on the aerial footage dozens of law enforcement agents that were descending on both of those locations. And so we'll have to wait and see what the search warrant itself actually entailed. But again, this comes after Sean Combs has faced a series of legal troubles in the past several months, to include one accuser, for example, back in December. This was a woman who was 17 years old at the time that she alleged in 2003 that she was sexually assaulted by Combs, saying that she was sex trafficked, that she was subject to gang rape. Of course, Combs himself had denied all of that. And then finally, just last month, a former employee of Combs had alleged in a civil lawsuit that he was forced to work for Combs, forced him to procure and interact with sex workers. And this individual also saying that Sean Combs' son, Justin, was accused of soliciting prostitutes and underage girls to attend various parties and functions. Again, the Combses have denied all of that, but all of this now coming into focus about what the likely key primary target here is of federal law enforcement. That's determined whether the extent of any sex trafficking that may have occurred in these residences and who may be responsible.
So, Joey, just from a legal standpoint, would Sean Combs' attorneys at this hour now be informed about what exactly they were looking for?
Not necessarily. I mean, at some point, certainly you're going to want to, if you're the lawyers, assess, do you have a warrant? Is it valid? What specific information underlies that warrant? Where was the probable cause with respect to any type of criminality found, right? Who were the sources of that information? At some point, you'll have all of this. Remember that this is still an active and ongoing investigation. As part of discovery, if this does get into something criminal, I would have to presume the U.S. Attorney's Office is involved.
We should point out no criminal charges have been filed.
Not at all, right? This is simply an investigatory step. And at this stage of the investigation, they apparently went to a judge, right, Anderson, and said, look, we have reason to believe that indicia of criminality may lie within these residences.
So they show up with a search warrant at these houses,
Correct.
And whoever's there has to let them in.
Correct. I mean, if it's a valid warrant, it's presumably you have all these law enforcement officials there, you let them in, they search for what they search for. And then there's the other step. That other step being, what specifically did you find? What, if any, connection is that to any criminality? You give it to prosecutors and it's taken from there.
And are they told what was taken from the house?
Yes, there will be a specific list of items that will ultimately be turned over to attorneys if it goes that far, which will delineate specifically what we took, what room we took it from, who was the agent or agents who secured that information. And then it'll go a step further because there'll be analysis on what items that were taken and what, if anything, in that analysis in a laboratory showed that it was connected to any type of sex trafficking, if any, right? And from there, there'll be, or there won't be, a criminal prosecution.
Joshua, I mean, when people hear the term sex trafficking, what comes to mind is moving people across borders. I mean, I assume that's not what's involved here. If that, in fact,
it's unclear
any of that went on.
Yeah, it's unclear about the extent, how global this we're talking about. Obviously, with human trafficking, that can be transnational in nature, where people are brought in from overseas. But sex trafficking happens all across the United States here domestically from people who are from the United States, particularly young victims who are subjected to such depravity by individuals. And this is why you have agencies like HSI primarily leading the effort to try to rescue those victims in order to hold accountable anyone who may be responsible. But it's something that, it doesn't get a lot of attention, particularly because a lot of these investigations happen behind the scenes. There's another element where oftentimes investigators will try to protect the privacy of victims, obviously for good reason. But it certainly is a very sinister threat that HSI continues to investigate coast to coast.
We should point out there have been a number of civil lawsuits, I guess, against Sean Combs. Again, no criminal charges, it's really important to point out, have been filed. This was executing two search warrants. Is it, Joey, I mean, is it common for if there are civil cases that would trigger a Department of Homeland Security investigation?
Not necessarily and not at all. However, if you have civil complaints, right, civil lawsuits relating simply to that, right, the securing of compensation based upon some sexual misconduct that's alleged, that's a civil in nature. In this particular case, apparently authorities evaluated that, and from that, they certainly would have had access to the witnesses underlying those allegations, could have interviewed those witnesses, and could have determined that based upon the civil allegations, there could be criminality that may very well have led to the probable cause, which led to these warrants, which is leading to this criminal investigation.
Joey Jackson, thanks very much. Josh Campbell as well. Thank you.
And I've seen some things happen in the jacuzzi. Like when I'm the only one could go to the room 9 times out of 10. When Puff was the one who, was in the presidential suite, I'm the only one allowed. I gotta watch the door. No one can get into that door. I'm the only one that had the pass key or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes you would hear a boom, 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 boom. a thump or whatever the situation is and stuff like that. Yo, what's up? Everything good? And sometimes they will open the door. I'm right there by the door. Sometimes you see things you don't want to see. Bruh, I knew about the butt plug fetishes because I saw that with my own eyes. I knew about him and Kim being swingers with other people, whether it was another male or another woman or a male and a woman together. I saw that with my own eyes. You got to realize is that after 2005, I didn't see anything that Puff was doing or what he didn't do. Puff had got addicted to opioid. And being addicted to those things bring other drugs on. I seen Puff smoke a cigarette. I never saw him smoke a cigarette. He was on the beach smoking a cigarette on YouTube. Then I seen him, smoking weed and drinking. I was like, that ain't the Puff I know. Drinking like he was and doing all like that. That ain't the Puff that I knew. You understand what I'm saying? You got to realize he had a certain respect around me because I was his OG from the same game. You understand? And he knew I was law enforcement. He knew I didn't play certain things. So he ain't gonna do what he do around other people in front of me because he know I'm gonna check him on that.
Who can know it all better than your ex-bodyguard, right?
We were in Cancun and we were on our way to the Island of Women. You understand? And this all it was, bruh. For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled them down. When he grabbed his trunk to pull them down, some girls that was taking pictures. They took that picture and emailed it back to Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams said she had him in a compromising position and like it was gay porn or something like that, and she was going to put it out.
Gene Deal, the well-connected source and Diddy's former bodyguard, has recently revealed startling information regarding Diddy's secret activities in Hollywood.
There was story that he was trying to get Chris Brown. There's stories about, those young boys that he had, a group B5 or something like that, trying to get them. Yo, it's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got sexual charges and everything on him, but he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN. It's keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that.
Not coming slow, Deal is revealing the disturbing details like there's no tomorrow. Take a look.
So all this stuff about him having fetishes is true?
Oh, no doubt. Especially if he getting butt plugs in different flavors.
But speaking of butt plugs, right, I remember some years ago, Cameron, he did an interview and he told a story about how he went to Diddy house with mates.
Yeah.
And he found the dildo in the sink.
I think that was crazy. I think that was out of, and then Mace said that was Puff's. I think he said Mace said that was Puff's, but Mace was in the bathroom with it. I don't know what that was all about, man, but that was real weird to me. That was crazy.
Now, first things first. According to Gene Deal, Diddy's Little Black Book appears to include more than simply contact details. Rumor has it that it opens the door to a world of scandalous meetings and invitation-only events that simply go beyond standard Hollywood parties. Gene claims that Diddy has been actively involved in planning notorious gay parties, where Hollywood's elite are rumored to indulge in more than cocktails, where Diddy appears to be more than just a participant. He is actively seeking out additional participants, transforming these get-togethers into an elite and clandestine group.
It all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff and he's in the exotic bookstores and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that, because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, he got to go put it on the counter and, show everybody what he's getting. So as he going, I'm just looking at the places where he picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I'm like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. So I said, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs. And he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. So when he got I just waited at the counter. So when he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like he gave the guy a stack something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store.
Gene also eliminates any misconceptions by stating that Diddy had more than just personal goals in mind. And it honestly appears that Diddy has been planning these gatherings not merely for his own enjoyment, but also in an attempt to get other powerful men involved in strange pursuits. According to Deal, Diddy allegedly encourages others to join in on the scandalous meeting, so the male prostitutes he hires aren't only for his personal satisfaction.
A lot of freaky stuff is going on. You gotta use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
Meanwhile, instead of simply giving names, Gene is giving fans an inside look at Diddy's world of freak-offs, Turkish baths, and scandalous soirees.
I knew I used to wait outside of Turkish baths for them. You know what they do in the Turkish baths?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay. That's where a lot of gay men meet. And they all take hot baths together. To each his own though, bruh. But that's a lot of that these guys get into when they start having certain meetings with certain people and they meet them at the Turkish bath and they do their meetings and they meet their people in those type of situations where they're comfortable at. So they don't have to worry about their indiscretions coming out. You mean? You understand what I'm saying? So that's why, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, me and the driver be outside. He'll run into the Turkish bath.
According to his interview, Deal claimed that these parties are a playground where the rich and famous in Hollywood can indulge in their weirdest fantasies, where the wealthy and well-known will pay top cash for tickets to the most freakish shows in town. Moving forward, Gene also presented a vivid picture of Turkish baths as a common spot for secret encounters between gay men. He proposed that these interactions are more than just hot baths. Rather, they are part of a wider network where people gather covertly for private activities, all thanks to Diddy's organizing abilities. Naturally, it appears that there are more individuals involved than just eager players because some fresh recruits are said to have opted out. But what is happening at these gatherings that justifies the high cost is the key question that remains unanswered.
We had this artist with us, right? And we were staying in the presidential suite at the hotel. And this particular artist and Puff, they told me, don't let nobody come in the room. So I said, all right, cool. So I propped my chair by the room door while they went in. So this artist's cousin knocked on the door. So I went to him and I let him in because I knew him, I see his face and everything. I seen his face several times before. He said, yo, I gotta speak to my cousin. And I said to him, well, they busy right now, man. And they told me don't let nobody come in the room. He said, yo, I'm going in the room to get my cousin out. And I said, bruh, you ain't going in the room, get your cousin out. They told me nobody could go in the room. So he said, I don't care who you are, what you doing like that. I'm going to get my cousin. He went to go and try to open the room. I grabbed his ass, joked him up, and slammed him on the piano. And the next thing you know, Puff and his artist run out the room naked. And so then I see the artist trying to grab a towel. Puff didn't give a shit. And the artist like, yo, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? He like, yo, G, that's my cousin. And I was like, yo, my man, he was trying to get in the room and y'all told me don't let nobody else come in, let nobody come in this room. Jesus Christ gonna have to come take the Puff. No, Jesus gonna have to take the air out my body if anybody coming in that room. And Puff just looked at the artist and the artist said, you ain't wanna come up in there? It was a lot of freaky shit going on.
Let's also talk about Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie, who recently made shocking claims in an interview that shocked everyone. Now, according to Gene, the information revealed regarding Cassie's lawsuit claims is really shocking, but true.
You know what I'm saying? She is a victim, man, and if this is her victim story, we gotta be more, I think more compassionate. She was 17 years old at the time. She was fascinated by that whole thing, getting on a G4, G5 jet, you understand? And what was her parents, man? What was her daddy, her mama? They didn't miss their child? She didn't come home that night? I don't know, man. I can't fathom the whole idea, man. So to say that what he's being known for with Cassie, I can only equate to some of the things that I've seen him and Kim go through. You understand what I'm saying? So people get mad, you know, but it is what it is. I can only equate his actions like that.
The lawsuit claims that Diddy planned weekly freak-offs, during which Cassie was forced to partake in unusual and graphic acts, and that people tend to blame Cassie only, especially because of the narrative Diddy seemed to have painted.
Cassie, who searched for the big black, and she was searching for the big black, not only for herself, but for somebody else who we all know that was in the room with her. So if he want to see it and he want her to touch it, he might, that other person in the room with her just might want to feel it, allegedly.
So you feel like Diddy was having sex with the male prostitutes?
They had to be for both of them. They was in the room, right?
You're right.
It's a freak-off section. She said it's a freak-off section. If she says a freak-off section, brother, she ain't the only one freaking off. The prostitute ain't the only one freaking off. Old boy is freaking off also. I think that, and me just being a trained investigator and reading through the lines of certain things, and one time I had read something that Cassie couldn't take it no more. She told her friend, and this was she was under a non-disclosure and everything like that. She told her friend she couldn't take it no more because she had seen this dude do something. I've heard plenty of stories about him being on a yacht. That same yacht that Kim was on, and the same yacht she got her nose broken on, that somebody was doing something to him when they walked in the room, and it caused a confrontation.
Not to mention, it's been reported that Diddy set the scene by giving everyone a lot of who knows what, resulting in a Hollywood fantasy similar to a blockbuster, but with a greater degree of controversy. While recording the hot moments on camera, Cassie charges Diddy with not only watching, but also participating in the freak-offs. Then again, Gene claims that the lawsuit causing a lot of buzz was severely edited. Remarkably, some of the more graphic facts were purportedly removed before the case even reached the courts. Why?
Anything in that lawsuit, you got to realize that we only got a portion of it because it's been chopped up. Things has been taken out. So somebody wouldn't look a certain way. Now, they left some of the things in there, but I'm sure plenty of times Cassie may have seen some stuff that she didn't really want to look at. He didn't want her to know who they were. So if she ever wanted to do what she just did, how does she say how the person look? All she could describe is if they was wearing masks, unless she saw them before they put the mask on. It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bruh, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this and trying to engage other men into sexual acts with him.
Well, months before the lawsuit was dismissed, according to reports, Diddy's legal team and Cassie's lawyers began negotiating, cutting out the important details to preserve identities and spare Diddy from possible legal repercussions.
Do you think this man had this woman search for prostitutes online just for them to have sex with her? It's something fishy about that, bro. Because you got to realize this lawsuit and the information they had and they gave the Diddy people was 6 months ago. So some of that stuff was cut out. Okay, we're gonna give you this, but you gotta cut this part out. Let's just say allegedly, or just for the sake of it, Cassie wasn't the only one who wanted, or she didn't want it, but Cassie, who searched for the big black, and she was searching for the big black, not only for herself, but for somebody else who we all know that was in the room with her.
Yet, Gene is adamant that the case only represents the very beginning. He thinks it was edited out to prevent Diddy from suffering a great deal of damage, as the accusations include forcing Cassie to carry a gun, many assaults, and human trafficking.
Bro, when y'all look at this thing and saying force, y'all think this that he probably threatened to beat her, threatened to do something like that. That ain't what force is. It could come from the mentality. Yo, he put her in a certain position, in a certain situation, in a certain time in her life. You understand what I'm saying? That she saw no way out other than doing what he told her to do. He had mentally controlled her. It's like a pimp. Diddy had pimp potential. He had her mind messed up where it controlled her. She felt no way out. She felt like if she walked out the door, he wasn't gonna do the music no more. If she went somewhere or she ran and didn't want to do that, their relationship not only would have been over, he would have painted a picture that nobody else in the industry would have dealt with her. I seen him do it before. I seen him even tell people on the phone before, like, yo, like he did Wendy Williams.
Adding to his claims, Gene has also revealed that Justin Bieber was given access to the special Diddy event through Usher's role as matchmaker.
Man, it's a lot of stuff that Mace and Usher know that they ain't telling about Diddy. There's a lot of stuff that they know. Can you imagine, bruh? Can you really imagine?
You see, because of Diddy, Bieber found himself spending a mysterious 48 hours at Diddy's house, hidden from the snooping gaze of the paparazzi in the blink of an eye. But what's even weirder is that no one really knows what happened in those 48 long hours. Not to forget, there are rumors that Diddy lured Bieber to these exclusive hangouts by promising him a future house and a brand new Lamborghini. And although the relationship between a 40-year-old and a teenager may cause some concern, according to Gene, Diddy seemed to minimize any worries. So, the question is, where does it all even end with Sean Diddy Combs? That's all for today. Do you think Gene may be in hot water soon, given he has had a lot to say about his former boss? Let us know in the comments.
of deception.
You stood next to Biggie, you put hot on him. That's stand next to the fighters you want, right? You stood next to Mase, stood next to Jock. Look, Puffy might be the destination for anybody going nowhere.
He must be the luckiest motherfucker, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone.
Once upon a time, in the land of commencement speeches and hidden family secrets, Sean Combs took the stage at Howard University. But little did the audience know that he was about to unveil a tale that would make their jaws drop like a mic in a rap battle. You see, Sean's mama, Janice, had been spinning a yarn about his father's demise. She claimed that Melvin Combs, may he rest in peace, had met his tragic end in a car accident. But Sean's curiosity ignited like a flame on a hot track, leading him on a quest for the truth. Armed with determination and a library card, he ventured into Founders Library, ready to unravel the mystery. Hours turned into a day as Sean dove into the depths of history, sifting through ancient scrolls of microfiche like a treasure-hunting scholar. And lo and behold, the Amsterdam News whispered a secret into his ear. It revealed that his dear old dad, with ties to the notorious drug dealer Frank Lucas, had not perished in a mere accident. No. Fate had dealt him a much darker hand. He had been slain in a wicked drug deal gone bad. Now you'd think this revelation would make Sean shy away from the treacherous path his father had walked. But life has a funny way of twisting fate, my friends. For as Sean strutted through the wild world of Hollywood, he donned a cloak of ruthlessness, determined not to be a pawn in anyone's game, and comedian Dave Chappelle has been there to witness it all. I decided to embrace the entrepreneurship of my father, but in an honest way, in a legal way, by earning, scraping, working harder, believing in myself, and most importantly, making the most of the blessings that God blessed me with, Combs said in the commencement address. Is that right? No, it's not.
So what? Chris, the Chris grew up fast. Yeah, they grew up fast. Are you happy for Ben and Jen?
Combs's journey weaves together two contrasting worlds that collided when he made the pivotal decision to leave Howard University and join Andre Harrell at Uptown Records. Janice Combs, once a hardworking matriarch juggling 4 jobs to support her 2 children, now witnesses her son's remarkable ascent as one of the most recognizable and successful entrepreneurs of his generation, amassing an estimated fortune of $800 million.
If you're mentally ill, I don't think Kanye is crazy at all. I think he's possibly not well. Well, I've been to Hollywood. It's a lot of juice.
However, Chappelle adamantly claims that Diddy is in control of tainted money, a significant portion of which he allegedly acquired by eliminating his rivals. Chappelle has been subtly exposing the founder of Bad Boy Records, beginning with his most recent revelation involving a criminal act. The internet has been set ablaze by the unverified medical emergency that resulted in Jamie Foxx's hospitalization. Unless you just landed from another planet, you're likely aware of this situation. The online realm is brimming with theories and debates, but one particular theory has risen to prominence. Many speculate that Foxx's illness was not a natural occurrence, but rather a deliberate attempt on his life. Surprisingly, Dave Chappelle has stepped forward to shed light on why powerful forces were so eager to silence Foxx. Rest assured, there's no cause for alarm. Simply follow our lead as we uncover the missing pieces of this intriguing puzzle.
What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me"?
Earlier last month, reports emerged of Jamie Foxx being rushed to the hospital due to a medical emergency. As he was filming Back in Action alongside Cameron Diaz in Atlanta, his loved ones had to travel from Los Angeles to be by his side.
So Jamie Foxx suffered a very serious medical emergency that landed him in the hospital.
However, recent developments indicate that the police paid a visit to Foxx during his hospital stay. Allegedly, the Academy Award-winning actor informed them about an active threat on his life. Fans were shocked and bewildered by his alarming statements. A Twitter user recently expressed their concern, stating, "Jamie Foxx told the cops somebody is trying to kill him. I'm telling you, man, it's like they have a timer of these celebrities' lives. I believe him." The burning question on everyone's mind now revolves around the identity of the potential assailant. Fortunately, there's no need to worry, as Dave Chappelle has just unraveled this enigma. Certain influential individuals are relentlessly pursuing Dave Chappelle due to his bold remarks regarding the suspicious nature of Jamie Foxx's illness.
The comedian-turned-actor fearlessly speaks out against the satanic practices he claims to have witnessed in Hollywood. It's not the first time he has made such allegations. As in the past, he likened the world of business to a devouring monster that forces compliance upon those who resist.
I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster.
In an interview on his life and work, Dave Chappelle spared no details in criticizing the film industry and its elites. He mentioned Martin Lawrence, who, like Jamie Foxx, is currently thought to have suffered a stroke. Dave made a humorous statement, claiming that Martin's reaction to his question was,
After that, I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life.
This is not a shallow answer, no matter how funny it may sound. Fans assume that Jamie must have been presented with Illuminati material, and he must have rejected it, and this is the root cause of all his troubles. Another supporter chimed in. I felt that he said no to something, and that's why he had that stroke. This is a fairly healthy man that stays out of the way. They unalive these celebs, make them go broke, and take away work just so that they submit. #pray for Jamie Foxx. During an interview, Dave Chappelle commended Martin for his resilience, highlighting that it takes true strength to speak one's mind openly. In the same vein, he posed a thought-provoking question, expressing his bewilderment at the alarming rate of artists and celebrities vanishing or experiencing health crises in Hollywood.
What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Delving deeper, Chappelle dropped a subtle hint about an overlooked yet significant issue. He unveiled that there are sinister forces at play behind the scenes, only discernible to a chosen few. He further elaborated on his decision to seek refuge in Africa, escaping the clutches of the powerful elite.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL?
Fans continue to regard Chappelle as an emblem of bravery and courage. His authenticity and willingness to expose the facade of Hollywood's arrogance earn him constant admiration. One person remarked, "Say what you want about Dave Chappelle, but he does show the darker side of Hollywood, the side that keeps you from your family and friends, the greed and illusions involved. We all see glamour, parties, and money, but he's telling us it's not all this magic. They create magic. Celebrities are just everyday people like you and I, not super beings. Imagine how lonely it must get. It's really sad. I love him even more for putting this out there." Back in 2006, Chappelle had previously revealed that Hollywood had made attempts to oust him. He shared his journey of honing his craft and establishing his reputation in the industry since the age of 14. According to him, the industry sought to exploit his creative output by subjecting him to experimentation with drugs, effectively stifling his true self.
I've been in show business since I was 14. They're trying to kill me.
He went on to assert that the entertainment industry actively engages in a manipulative tactic of pushing young artists towards drug addiction by convincing them that they are insane or crazy. This, in turn, enables control over their lives and careers.
The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication.
However, this is only the tip of the iceberg. In the same interview with Oprah Winfrey, Chappelle hinted that famous individuals who resist such control will soon exhibit irrational behavior or inexplicably vanish.
You know, shout out to him.
I'm like Kennedy. You feel me? He like Clinton. I was the president for shit. Yeah, man. Yeah. That's OG. I was just was that a stop? But I did.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work.
It's enough.
Yeah.
I get it. You got it.
You look beautiful. It was a great move.
Gay.
Yeah, Mr. Lee. Yeah, I love this drink. Where you put my bag? I like when you like this, Daddy. Yeah, where you put my bag? Daddy, I like when you scrambling and scraping for shit. No. I like that.
You know, I've been practicing. I got
look back on where I became. Did you miss me though? For real? Because I'm saying it seems like a thing.
I miss
this birthday
with
party,
Puff, man.
But I'm talking about for your birthday. Huh? Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party. You know what I'm saying? So it's the end of the night, and it was mother. family reunion tour, Vibrations. Scott New album, such a vibe. Yo, Toronto, we come to your city, Atlanta. 2020, but I can't sing 20, but I can't sing Dallas. Play whatever you want to play, baby. Just here, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shake to that, shake to that. Work. Elaborate family until survive.
Heard that from people who work for Bad Boy, who have now departed, gays who were in Bad Boy, who have in fact told that he likes women, so he would in fact have to be bisexual. I've heard Sean Combs is in fact bisexual. From people who used to work in his company. So I'm assuming I've not had sex with Sean Combs. I've not spoken to Sean Combs. But based on those sources, I've heard he's in fact bisexual.
Building. Hey yo, this guy right here, one of the hip hop entrepreneur, young legends. He's in my gang. He gets money. Yes, he does. Yes. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow. This is amazing.
We're in the United States. Hey yo, can't nobody with me, nigga.
As far as like, whereas that, if I could say this, like you have a girl being sexual to this one guy, maybe going down on him, and he's back there rolling his eyes, he hiding the mother, and when he put his head down, it's one of them white boys sucking on him.
Oh,
you understand? That has happened. You understand what I'm saying? Then you got these guys who they go into these Turkish houses. Once you get to that door, you don't go back in there. But you know what they do in them Turkish houses. Well, you can assume what they do, quote unquote, in those Turkish.
Was Puffy really a fun boy?
Listen, I never seen him in the act with another man alone. Now, he's that type of dude, he'll take his girl, his baby mama with you and your girlfriend and your mans in them, and they'll go out and they do all kind of freaky shit with each other together. You know what I'm saying? The only fun boy shit that I ever seen him do, we was in one of those exotic shops. Yo, I'm gonna turn this shit out, because this shit was funny. We was in Atlanta. We go to those exotic shops where you get all kind of, like, they buy oils, dildos, spooky. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? All kind of shit. So they would just give him a brown paper bag, and they wouldn't even. He'd never put his shit out on the counter when we get ready to take it out. He would always just give a man a wad of money. So they just thought it was cool. So they'll give him a brown bag. He'll go through that. So one day I was walking down the aisle with him, and so then he just stopped. And he just started picking this shit up off the aisle. And he was getting, he went up there like several times just getting shit down. And so then I pinned in on what he was, where he was getting it from. And because I was just staying a couple of feet behind him. So when I went by, I looked up. I said, yo. And I seen the shit up there and it said butt plugs. And I said, yo, my man, what'd you get this shit for? And the nigga said, yo, on everything I love, man. He said, yo, Rec, he said, yo, can I do my shopping by myself?
Yo, hold on. You know I'm with the shit. We love Eric.
To anything about, the rumors about Puffy being gay or any of that. Does that shock you? Or does that, or is that kind of like I can see that?
Yeah, because see, I don't have to actually see two men engage in sexual activity to say he's gay.
I moved to New York City,
and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Uh-huh.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary J.
okay?
Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And what kind, do you have money?
No, just don't get close to the bed. Don't get close to the bed, but it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man. It's been a pleasure. You didn't have to do it, and you did it.
No, I definitely didn't have to do it. I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even I don't want it to come close to the bed at all. I should look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the garden stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like, check this out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the fuck did Puff just say?
Well, as a single man, you know what I'm saying, I have no shame in my game with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was at the time, and we went to Florida. We got invited to a Puffy party, the New Year's Eve party. Went to the party.
All dudes?
Yeah. Nah, it was actually a good party. You know what I'm saying? It was on South Beach, right?
Right.
So then we go to the house, and then he invited us to the house because he wanted to go to the club afterwards, right? I was like, okay, cool. So Superhead is with me, you know what I'm saying? Karen is with me, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Superhead.
Yeah. So she takes me. Puffy calls me outside. He's like, "Hey man, that girl you know about the girl you." I was like, "Yeah, nigga, everybody know about." You know what I'm saying? What's happening? He's like, that's the devil, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what you mean that's the devil?
The devil got a pretty mouth.
Yeah, and I was like, what you mean that's the devil? And then he was like, yeah, man, she videotaped you with fingers in the booty.
That's a new
movie.
movie.
What I'm saying? I was
the
like,
devil
what?
sucks penis.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
Rewind. I heard a penis and a finger in her ass going, what?
She said,
so Puffy tells you
she will videotape you with fingers in the booty. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
So then I go back in the house and I ask her, what the fuck are you talking about? He said you're a filmer. No, I did ask him. He's just like, whatever. He went off and did his thing. And I was like,
he limping?
He walked away and the nail fell out his boot.
No, I'm gonna clear this shit up because I'm not gonna have my name. I ain't gonna have my name out there crazy like that.
Go ahead.
So then she say, I told him what he told me, and she was like, oh, she started laughing like a motherfucker. I'll tell you later. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna make a big deal of it, whatever. So then then I guess he's had some prior incident with her that he don't want nobody to know about. You know what I'm saying? So we get into the truck. He said, let's go to this club. So everybody piling the car. The car is fucking silent. You know what I'm saying? We get to this club, and then we walk in the back way. It's a VIP lounge. Ain't nobody in there. And then, the club is going. It's all jumping. And then I'm sitting there with old girl. So he's doing his business. We go down and get a drink. We sitting there bopping to the music, and then she point over the corner. It's two dudes kissing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay. Then it's girls in the club too, and then she point another direction. It's another dude over there like butt ass naked dancing. You know what I'm saying?
We take off, man. You know what I'm saying? We leave the club
So you're
directly.
saying
I didn't say peace to nobody.
club
I didn't
was
see
pretty
nobody.
gay.
Yeah, it was
Lot of
suspect.
male
lot of
saliva
suspect.
exchanges.
The club was chalk it up. You could chalk it up to being in Miami or whatever.
I never
but
blame it on
I've been in a gang.
alcohol.
I've been in a gang of clubs, man.
The club was called
and I ain't never
What's it called?
I ain't never mistakenly stepped into a club having that kind of activity. You know what I'm saying? So
Me neither.
there it is.
So
So we
you
took a cab home back to where I was.
So lonely. So
I'm fucking goblins.
I went to a party on Star Island in Miami, where P. Diddy has a private residence. I had no business being there. I was with a famed house producer who was DJing the party.
Sure.
And I will keep his name out of it.
Yep.
And I took a whole bunch of ecstasy because everyone there was taking ecstasy. It was basically me and like beautiful like ethnic models, like just beautiful women who I obviously had no interest in because
It's the big pimpin' video.
That's not my type.
Right. We're gonna stick to Peppa, please.
Yeah, we're gonna stick to Peppa and ghouls from Us Weekly.
Right.
So I'm like kind of stumbling around. It's like, you know, it's all like, you know, my man is telling me that like, you know, every third person is some executive.
They actually are kind of just milling about or holding the perimeter, as it would be. The non-essential, you can see them making their way back over to these armored vehicles, probably doing a little debrief about what they saw. In any type of these situations, it really is, you know, you've got these armored officers that go in first, but I would venture to say the investigators or the people that know what they're looking for probably still out there on the streets, and they're waiting for that all clear to make sure that there is absolutely nobody on this property. And again, this is just a precaution. They don't want to have any kind of issues. Maybe somebody's hiding still, maybe just scared. And it, you know, doesn't have to be nefarious, and just because they don't know what's going on, and they just don't want to have somebody pop out of a closet or a bathroom or any one of these rooms while they're doing that investigation, and then other problems can ensue. So that's basically why we're seeing that large presence. They keep walking through there, and like you mentioned, this is an extremely large home, and probably with many rooms and little secret areas. So they want to make sure that everything is cleared before they allow those investigators in to start doing that investigation, whatever it is that they're looking for. But you can see a number of those officers making their way back into that major, this is the big main house as it would be, making their way back inside. And I would venture to say that they're going to just go through every one of those rooms and make sure that there is nobody in there. I don't think they're those guys that we're seeing, guys and gals that we're seeing in those heavily armored gear and equipment, I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now, it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion right here, all connected to Sean Combs. So again, until we find out further word as to what exactly they're searching for and why, we continue to look at the procedures taking place regarding this raid that's being conducted by Homeland Security. You have support from local law enforcement officials as well. We saw from the ground shots, you see multiple agencies there a part of all of this, and they have a number of resources on hand with a drone flying up top, as well as they had ladders taking a closer look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while, and as Haley mentioned, with her shot down on the ground right there, more people are coming to your area, Haley.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly media at this point. We were the first ones here on scene, but yeah, since there's probably a dozen different media agencies, yeah, it looks like his homes on both coasts are being raided. We still have not gotten word on exactly where P. Diddy is, if he is in fact in New York right now or in Los Angeles, and of course, yeah, we haven't seen him here in Holmby Hills. This is right off of Sunset and Beverly Glen, and it all unfolded, I would say, about 30 minutes ago. They're at his home here. They're also at his home in Miami. Of course, it's a little bit calmer, I would say, than it was about 20 minutes ago when it all happened. The guns that were drawn earlier have been since put away. It looks like they just put away their drone, but of course doing a thorough job of checking the home for any kind of details that they can come up with related to these allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, and everybody's interested in the details of what how he's connected to these latest allegations.
And from your vantage
we'll bring
point,
the very latest as soon as. I'm sorry.
Yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing is just the vehicles moving to a different location. We're kind of at the bottom of the hill, but if you go up a little bit farther, some of the vehicles that you saw down here earlier have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill. This is obviously a very prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton and Holmby Hills off of Sunset near Beverly Glen. So the vehicles have basically just moved forward. You're seeing a lot more of those law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security, though, back here on the street in Mapleton since they've come out of the home after they've done their thorough investigating inside that beautiful home belonging to P. Diddy, to Sean Combs. So I don't think they have any intention, Sandra, on going anywhere anytime soon. And overhead, you can see law enforcement helicopters and, of course, Stu up there in Skyfox.
Thank you so much, Haley, for that perspective on the ground right there in front of that Holmby Hills mansion. Stu, up in Skyfox, it looks like, yes, there are some more law enforcement, but in different attire. Should I say suits instead of body armor?
Definitely, and you know, and we all know how that works. The suits are going to be the investigators and probably the ones that are running the show. And again, I still think that they are just waiting for that green light for them to be allowed to make their way inside the property and to make their way to the areas that I would venture to say that they probably are pretty specific. I don't think they're just going in randomly. And again, this is just a guess. I don't think they're going in randomly, just going through everybody's stuff inside there. They probably have an area that they know or an office that they're going to be looking into or some computers that they might want to physically get their hands on, and that's what they're waiting for right now to make their way inside this property. This, like you said, very beautiful home out there in the Holmby Hills area, and they just waiting to get the all clear to allow them inside while these officers that we see right there in the tactical gear, well, their job is to make sure that everything is safe for them to go in. Now, they don't probably and again, I just want to be clear, it's like nobody's thinking that there's booby traps or some kind of sniper inside the home. That's not what they're thinking at all. It's probably more along the lines of they want to make sure that everybody is outside of the home because they don't want to have somebody stepping out or coming out later on and, surprising or catching people off guard. That's not what they want. And right now you can see Sandra, you've been saying, there's a large number of people out here. I would venture to say, as far as the officers go, I would probably put this group closer to 100. Not just what we're seeing right here. This is just one group of many that have made their way out here to this Holmby Hills area. And as far as the suits that we were talking about, that's part of the group right there. But there's some other ones as well, younger ones that were basically leading the charge. And that's them right there, actually. They perfect timing. And it looks like they're making their way over towards the home. They might be the first ones to make their way in to start that investigation process or to figure out where we're going to look, what we're looking for, and then later on the suits will make their way in as well. But this, like you said, is going to be a very long process out here, and this is just the very, very beginning. And the folks that they had taken into custody, they've moved them out of the area right now. And again, wouldn't say that they are arrested. We don't know that for a fact. They took them into custody. A few of them still had cuffs on. Some of them didn't. So maybe this was a division of, these are people that we know work here. These are people that may be associated with Sean Combs, or Bad Boy Entertainment. So it's one of those type of situations. And until they know who they are, they're just going to keep them in custody and possibly just let them go later on. And I don't believe the word arrested has been used out here as of yet, but again, still very active situation, and of course that is a huge house, and they've got a lot of rooms to clear before they allow those investigators in.